In this video today, I'm going to talk about something that's slightly different. So I'm not going to give you a tutorial, but today I'm going to talk about colors. Now, I'm not a graphic designer by practice. I learned a little bit of graphic design in uni, but that was pretty much it. The rest, I just kind of learn as I go, as I create projects, and also just looking at a lot of reference and also watching a lot of YouTube videos, especially the one from the future. If you want to learn from an actual color expert, go watch the Future's videos, and they have a playlist that's dedicated to color. In here, I'm just gonna talk about what I know and how I choose my colors. So before I show you how I personally choose my colors, I want to show you a couple of tools that you can use online to create your own color palette. So the first one is called Coolors. So what this tool does is it generates color palette for you. So all you have to do is just hit spacebar. But usually what I would do is I would actually choose a color that I want to use. So for example, I want to choose this blue color. And then I would click on this lock icon to lock it. So now when I click on the spacebar, it'll lock this color and then generates the other colors for you. Now, sometimes it won't get you the exact color palette that you want. So what I do is usually, as I press on my spacebar, I'll find a color that I thought I want to use for my color palette. Then I would just kind of drag that next to my color to see if it actually looks good. And if I'm happy with that, I would also lock the second color, continue using the spacebar until I find the color combination that I like. The second tool is Adobe Colors. With Adobe Colors, it's pretty cool because they have color harmony rule that you can apply. I'll talk about color harmony a bit later, but now I'm just going to show you how this tool works. So you just need to select the color harmony that you want, and then basically you just need to drag the primary color that you want to use. Like for example, I want to use this kind of lime color, and then the tool automatically choose the colors according to the color harmony that you use. Now let's go make your own colors. The first thing that you want to ask yourself is, what do you want to convey and what message do you want to deliver in your project? So you might have heard about color psychology and how different colors represent different emotions. Like for example, red represents passion, blue brings up kind of the calmness, and yellow or orange brings up joy. So you want to ask about what you want to do for your project. And then the next thing I want to talk about is the color wheel. Now you might have seen this in school, but it's basically just a wheel of color, and it has this 12 main colors. It will be very useful when you decide what color harmony you want to use later on. And then the next thing is hue, saturation, and value. So hue is basically just the different colors that is on the color wheel. So if you change your hue, it will change the color itself. Saturation is how vibrant your color is. So the higher it is, the more vibrant it is. The lesser it is, the more dull or desaturated it is. And then value is basically just how much white or blacks you have in your color. So the higher it is, the more white or bright it will be. The lower it is, the darker or more black it will be. And then the next thing is color harmonies itself. So it's a science-backed color theory. And there's a lot of different color harmony. The first one would be monochromatic, analogous, complementary, split complementary, triad, and there's probably more. To make things less confusing, today I'm just gonna talk about monochromatic, analogous, and complementary. So let's start with monochromatic. So monochromatic, from my understanding, is just one color, but they have different values. So for example, if you want to choose this purple color as your primary color, then the rest of the color would be lighter purple or darker purple. And then there's analogous. So analogous is basically the colors that are next to each other. So say you want to choose, again, this purple color as your primary color, then your analogous color will be this pink, red, blue, and light blue. The last one is complementary. Complementary is basically just the colors that is opposite in the color wheel. So if you choose purple, then the opposite color is yellow. And complementary colors usually are really good if you want to create vibrant projects or something that's a bit more fun and experimental. So now that you know about color wheel, color harmonies, hue, saturation, and value, you might want to ask, but where do I start? So I'm just going to show you how I usually do it. In After Effects, I usually would have my own color palette composition, and I would start with one shape, in this case a rectangle. Before I choose my colors, again, I want to ask, what do I want my audience to feel? So for this case, I want them to feel kind of dreamy. So dreamy colors is usually pink and purple. So I'm gonna start with that. And I'm gonna click on my fill and then just kind of select the colors that would represent kind of the dreamy color. And I'll probably start with this purple color. So somewhere there looks pretty good, and I'll hit OK. Before choosing the next colors, again, I want to ask what color harmonies do I want to use. Today, I'm feeling analogous. So again, analogous are the colors that are next to each other in the color wheel. So I'm going to duplicate this rectangle. I'm going to move it to the right here. I'm going to open my fill again, and I'm going to just adjust this arrow towards the blue color, maybe somewhere there. And I'm going to make it a bit darker like that. Gonna duplicate that again. Gonna put it to the side. I'm gonna bring this more towards the blue color. And then let's see, maybe I'm actually gonna do like a light blue like that. And then I'm gonna duplicate this color purple and I'm gonna drag it to the left. And this time, instead of going towards the blue, I'm gonna go towards the pink and the red. So that pinkish color, maybe I'll do like a light pink, maybe somewhere there. I'm gonna duplicate that again, bring it to the left. Again, I'm gonna bring this up towards the red, and I'm gonna choose like a stronger pink there. And then one more. I'm gonna bring it towards the red, but not all the way red, because I feel like it will be less dreamy if I put it all the way to the red color. Just gonna make it a bit darker like that, and then hit OK. So that's my initial color palette. Why do I say initial? Because usually once I create color palette, I will change it along the way. I'll show you what I mean. Let's start with this first. And I have my scene here, and I'm gonna apply the color palette that we just created onto the scene. So I'm gonna turn on my color palette there, and I'm just gonna apply these colors onto my scene. So this is the look that I get. Do you think this has good colors? I don't really think so. The reason is because firstly, I don't have neutral colors. So neutral colors are usually white, black, and brown, but I usually just use white and black. So that's really the main thing. And also I didn't use the 60-30-10 rule. What's that again? 60-30-10 rule. So I learned this again from the features video. What it means is that you should use 60% of your primary color, 30% neutrals, and 10% accent. So let's adjust our color palette. So the first thing that I want to do is to decide which one is going to be your primary color. I actually really like this purple color. I feel like this is the color that represents kind of like dreaminess. So I'm going to keep that. And then I'm going to decide on another color that would be my primary color. And maybe I'll use this pink color as my primary. So let's just adjust this around. I'm going to bring my primary colors all the way to the left there. And then I'm going to just put this here for now. I'll adjust that later. Let's create neutral colors. So as I said before, I'm just gonna stick with white and black, but I'm not gonna make it like super white like that. So it's kind of like a little bit, kind of have that reddish color and a bit of gray. And then same for the black. I'm not gonna go all the way black like that, but still has that kind of purplish, grayish blacks, I guess. So that's my neutral colors. And the last one is accent. So actually I might just leave it as this one, really. After I see this color palette, I feel like these two don't really belong to each other. I really like this color though, so let's see if I can adjust this a bit better. Maybe I'll bring down the... And then as much as I like this one, I think I might have to readjust this. Okay, so I might actually make that pink a bit more saturated like that. Now it feels a bit better. Now, as I said before, 60-30 rule. So I'm gonna make this to 60, these to 30, and these to 10. So what I'm doing here, I'm just parenting this color to here, and then the black to white, and then this light blue to this blue. And then I'm gonna select all of these pink layers and hit S for scale. I'm gonna turn off the constant proportion, and I'm gonna change this number according to the 60-30-10 rule. So primary color 60, neutral 30, and then accent 10. Now I'm gonna bring this towards each other like that. And I'm gonna select the pink layers and parent it to the null. Now, this is just so that I can kind of enlarge the color palette so that it's easier for us to see. Now let's go back to my scene, and I'm gonna try again and apply these colors to my scene. Now, it looks a bit better than my previous ones, but I'm just going to analyze some of the contrast here. So in order to check whether you have a good contrast or not, you might need to apply desaturation to your scene. So in order to do that, you need to create an adjustment layer here. So I have mine already set up, and I've already applied a hue and saturation, and I brought down the master saturation all the way to -100. And when you turn it on, you'll see whether you have a good contrast or not. Most of it has a good contrast. So the text in the background has great contrast. The circle here in the background also, these two are quite fine. The only thing is this one, which is not really necessary because it's just kind of like accents. But if you do want to change it, you can add levels. Again, the color palette that we created, it's just a guide. So you can always add levels and saturation to your colors, especially to accent, just to make it a bit more nicer. What I'm gonna do for this circle is I'm gonna apply levels, and I'll probably make it a bit darker, so like that, just to have a bit more contrast. And then also I'm gonna change this color a little bit because it doesn't look good against that pink. So maybe I'm gonna make it a bit brighter, so like that. So that's how I apply my colors. Hope that helps. And if you wanna be good at colors, you just need to practice and practice. I personally, I'm still struggling a little bit with colors. I'm still like learning a lot, watching a lot of videos. A good tip is to look at a lot of reference and just see how they work with colors. But yeah, hope those tips help you. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.